Today is 5th May 2017. Marks the day that the fourth album by Motionless and White releases, Graveyard Shift, and I pre-ordered it probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, sometime around Easter, and I wanted to do a review of it, just as I thought not many people would do a review of it. And so yeah, how this will work is I will go song by song, sort of saying what I like, saying what I did not like, and giving my opinion about it, and then I will do a full album review and talk about all the songs in a whole, talk about what they did good, what they did bad, and just talk about the album in general. So let's start. Song 1, Rats. I like the creepy keyboard at the beginning. I thought it sounded cool, and but the song was a lot like Death March. The more you listen at it, the more you realize, yeah, it sounds exactly like Death March from Reincarnate, the third album, the one before this. But the lyrics I liked when he was like sick at the bones, slave to the flesh, and I was like, wow. And the way he sang it and everything was cool. Had great chorus and shit, and then it said, so shut your mouth before I fuck it, and I was like, whoa, wow, I cannot believe he said that. The song structure was super predictable. You could tell how they do that with their music, so predictable. And the second half of the song towards the end is just all flat and really had nothing standoutish about it, I suppose. Yeah, and so yeah, I like this song generally. There's nothing bad about it. A bit boring, but I mean, I liked it. The next song I got super stoked when I heard it. It's called Queen for Queen. Had an awesome guitar intro. I was immediately interested in the song, like I said. I love the vocals. It sounds so different from what they usually do, especially on this album. It stands out to me immediately. It was more metal than electronic, which I love. I hate electronic music usually. It almost sounded like Escape the Fate for me. Something I will say like multiple times throughout this review is Chris Motionless really tried something a bit different with his vocals, maybe making it wave or hit different note, different pitches or whatever, but he really did fairly decent in terms of his singing on this record, and that is something he did for Queen. But once again, song structure is very predictable. Now this next track I hated, Necessary Evil. This is the one with Jonathan Davis of Korn. I personally do not like Korn, but I was like, hey, if it was a good performance, it is a good performance, so it's like, shit, I go into this clear mind, so whatever. It was boring. I fucking hated it. It sounded like Infamous, but I did like I'ma have my cake and fucking eat you as well, and I was like, wow, that sounds cool. I like the lyrics. It had a cool chorus. It was almost like their rendition of like pop music. It had the dance beat type of thing for me, and it was interesting nonetheless, but it was experimental. But what really killed it is Chris had been speaking about how much Jonathan Davis is an influence on him and the band, and that kind of thing, and how much they were like, oh my god, Jonathan Davis is like singing on our song, and it was just like underwhelming. Like it was almost like Jonathan Davis. I don't know, but it was like it was more Chris Motionless than Jonathan Davis, which I mean is understandable. But then like looking at shit like Puppets 3, where it had Danny Filth throughout almost the entire song, and you sort of thinking about that like, uh, that mentality going into this, like, oh, he'll probably sing throughout the entire song, and he just only had like a small part. It was very disappointing. So yeah, I hated that song really bad. Um, Soft, track 4. I liked it that it sounded heavier, but this song just sounded like a direct ripoff of Slipknot. I do not like Slipknot, but I know their sound, and it's like this song to me was just very immature. It was like, you know, like saying fuck just to say fuck type of thing. Um, like I said, direct ripoff of Slipknot. I hated this song. Uh, Track 5, Untouchable, fucking put me to sleep. I like the vocals, but really, the song was just a filler. It was, yeah, literally, it was just a filler song. That was just shit. I did not like this song at all. Not my type, Dead as Fuck too. They did good with this one, actually. The keyboards are really cool. I like the sound and how it does really feel like a sequel for this from Dead as Fuck, the first one. It really does do justice as a sequel. It is a great sequel. What I liked about it is it did not take itself too seriously. Like, they really just were like, hey, let's make a song just to have fun, just to make people laugh, make people smile, you know, like a silly song, really. And I actually enjoyed that. I was like, you know, with everything being all so pissed off and fuck you and fuck this and everything, not just with this band, but like in general, it is cool to actually hear a song where, you know, it's cool and fun and happy and shit like that. And it's supposed to be funny. So yeah, this was actually one of my favorite songs on the record, and it was not even a serious song. Track 7, The Ladder, cool female speak at the beginning. I really enjoyed that. And then like as soon as she quit speaking, the music hit. I was like, I was shook. I was spooked to my boots. I was like, what the fuck? I was not expecting this. And it was just so cool. The lyrics are awesome. The chorus was great. You can really tell they like were hardcore into this song. Just the energy on the vocals and everything. It was very cool. It had a cool guitar solo. It reminded me of Puppets, like Puppets 3 especially, just how the speed and everything. But at the same time, it was like its own thing, you know? And yeah, this after listening at the album like twice, this was the best song, to be fair, The Ladder. Track 8, Voices. I like how the song begins with singing, just Chris. That was cool. I love the guitars, love the slower pace. I liked it, once again, that was more metal than electronic. But what not really ruined, but kind of put me off this song is it's just basic, like, radio metal. It just sounds like, you know, cookie cutter, like Five Finger Death Punch type of thing, and it was just like, so at least I'm happy I recognize that for myself. But yeah, this song was alright. Loud, fuck it, the weirdest song on this album. It was cool stripped down guitar at the beginning. It was a lot more punk rock, which is cool, as you know, I'm originally a fan of punk before I was a fan of metal. There's never a style they really explore. They're usually filled with like electronics and that kind of shit. But this was definitely good experimenting. They had to grow on me, obviously. Like, you know, it was a song that had to grow on me. But at the end of the day, I did like it. 570. This is their best single anyway. It sounded great immediately. The lyrics are great, lots of energy. I love how the song changes up over and over again between chorus, verse, and everything. This was like one of the least predictable songs that they have on this album, like in terms of song structure as well. The breakdown was great, and the chorus was excellent. So I love that song. Hourglass, probably between, like, what is it? Untouchable and Hourglass are the worst songs on this record. Hourglass, I actually think I hated the worst, but it had good moments, like it had great vocals. Um, the lyrics were alright, but for the most part, it sounded like Break the Cycle, and it sounded like filler for me. And finally, Eternally Yours. Oh, and Hourglass. I did not like that song. Eternally Yours. It was a great ender at the album. I really thought it was. I like the keyboard at the beginning. It really sets the mood for the song. The vocals are cool. I love the chorus. The lyrics were great. And then at the end, the like last minute of the song or whatever it was, where it's just like really turned down guitar in terms of volume, and Chris singing, that was really unexpected, and I think everyone was like surprised, and everyone was stoked about that. So now I will go on to the full album review. I'm finished with each song. Oh, and Eternally Yours, I did like that song. This is the last, or that was the last song, so now I go on to the full album review. Alright, so this is a full album review of the album Graveyard Shift by Motionless and White. How this will work is I will do an overall review. I will state the things that I liked about the record. I will review the songs as a whole together, and I will say the things that I did not like. So overall, Graveyard Shift starts out with the song Rats, and it is very reminiscent of the song Death March, the previous record that the band has put out called Reincarnate. They were very similar, and I think Rats, it was probably, yeah, it was the best song they could have put for the first opening song. This album really shows that the band is matured as musicians, as songwriters, as lyricists, and all that kind of stuff. They've really matured, especially, you know, is very obvious in songs such as like Eternally Yours and everything. Probably their most mature song, one of their most mature songs to date. It was cool, I liked it. And they really stayed true with their sound on this record. Like, they really, you know, as soon as you hear the song, you would be able to tell it was a Motionless and White song. But at the same time, they add things to experiment a little more, to slowly make that progression. I think what they go for is, like, in the future they will probably start doing like radio rock or radio metal and stuff like that. And you can tell that, like, you could tell with songs such as Untouchable and Hourglass and Voices and stuff like that, that they really, that's the direction they head in. But it's very subtle and slow. You know, it's not like an overnight thing. The things I liked about this album is Chris has really tried to make his vocals and singing a lot better. And, you know, instead of just singing like a chorus, like, you know, one tone throughout the entire thing, you know, he goes higher, he goes lower, he goes mid-range, and it just fluctuates, you know, on some songs. And I really enjoyed that, and I think that is the most improved thing about this record from the last one is, you know, Chris has worked on his vocals. And musically, I really enjoyed the latter, the guitar solo, and that they're not really much for guitar solos, and Eternally Yours at the end, where it's just Chris singing by himself, the really like turned down guitar and everything. I enjoyed that a lot. The references for pop songs, they did that twice, where in the song Necessary Evil, they say it's my party, I can die if I want to. And I forget what, it's my party, I can dance with it if I want to. I forget what song that is from, but I recognized it, you know, like that immediately. And they also, on the latter, they say, now you're just somebody that I used to fuck, which, you know, now you're just somebody I used to know. So they do that twice throughout the record, from what I could tell, and you know, they do it enough to get your attention, but not enough to say, alright, just please stop. We've heard it over and over again, you know. So it was, I liked it. They did it enough to where it was enjoyable. The lyrics really seem to focus more on how people view them and like how people view Chris himself more than, you know, most bands just write about how their personal opinions and how they view things. What I perceived is sort of like you know, the outside world looking in on the band and what they perceive instead of the opposite way around, which, you know, is usually written about. So I enjoyed that. It was a perspective change, so I thought that was cool. And finally, they seem to really be genuinely stoked about this record. Chris, um, Ricky, everyone just seems to be stoked about this record, and that really made me happy that they're not like, yeah, it should be great. I hope so. Yeah. But Chris really seems stoked about it. So, and you could tell in the music as well. The songs overall, there are in every song, almost every song, standout moments. But overall, most of the songs are like, meh, you know, that type of thing. It's like a lot of them just get into this formulaic pattern that just is really boring, to be fair. My favorite songs are Queen for Queen, Not My Type, The Ladder, 570, Voices, and Eternally Yours. Those are the songs that stood out for me, and the other ones, alright. I mean, there was no songs that I was like, this song sucks. No, fuck you. No, it's just the rest I did not care for. In terms of song order, I felt the songs like Soft, Untouchable, and Not My Type, they go together on the record. I felt their flow was very good, and I felt like one after another, it really was like, wow, these sound great together. That being said, I feel as if the album as a whole, with all the songs together, are almost like glued together and like taped together. They just feel like a bunch of songs that they were like, alright, we've got these songs, let's just put them in an album and hope for the best. It just seems like there was no beginning, middle, and end. It just seemed like a bunch of songs put together, and we have to sort of, it is up to our perception to determine the beginning, middle, and end. So that was a big criticism from me for it, as well as the last criticism I could talk about the song structure is not structure but orders. I felt 570 and Loud should have been at the beginning of the album, just as those are two singles people have heard over and over again, and when you listen to an album in its entirety, you want to get the singles you've heard over and over again out of the way to make way for more songs that you've never heard before and that are more emotionally in depth and more complicated and everything. So I felt those songs should be more at the beginning of the album instead of almost the very last songs. So that was my criticism for that. And finally, the things I did not like about this album, it felt a big thing, like I could say it over and over again, it just felt like there were a few good songs, but they were scattered amongst filler. I felt like, here's a good song, I gotta listen to 2 or 3 songs of filler, and then I can get another good song. And it just felt like, you know, a lot of it was filler, like Hourglass, Untouchable, even Rats, compared to like some of these songs on here are really, really good, like The Ladder, Queen for Queen. So like it just felt like good songs scattered in between filler. And like I said, there's really no beginning, middle, and end, and they just lacked musical whole they usually, this is a Motionless and White thing. I perceive that like they really rely on their lyrics and vocals to really make that punch, to really make them stand out, instead of like, you know, guitar solos or, you know, really crazy drums or whatever to make them stand out. So I felt like this album really lacked like musical diversity, and I felt a lot of it sounded like bands that already exist, you know, where they really did not have that. They've got the keyboard sound down on lock, but like I just felt like they needed to expand more on, you know, maybe more guitar solos or more drum solos or whatever it may be, you know. I just felt like they needed to expand on that more. And yeah, another bad thing is the song structure. It just felt like every song almost was intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. Every song, I was like, this will happen now. Now this will happen now. Except for like 570 and Eternally Yours, every song had like the same song structure, and I could not get past that no matter what I did. And so, at the end of the day, I really did not want to be harsh on this album, but I truly, I have to stick with is a 5 out of 10. Yeah, if you stick with songs like Queen for Queen, The Ladder, Not My Type, 570, Eternally Yours, if you stick with like those main songs, just buy those, you will be happy and satisfied. Personally, the others do not stand out to me. I did not hate any of the others, but they just put me to sleep, you know? So yeah, I give that a 5 out of 10. I hate to be that harsh, but at the same time, you know, I want to be as honest as I can about it, and I really just was disappointed by this record. So, thank you for anyone that decided to watch. I appreciate it, and if you stayed until the end. So, thank you. Have a nice day.